tutorial. In this first episode, I'm pretty much just going to teach you the parts of the guitar, and I'm going to try to keep this short. Some of my tutorials run long. I get all stupid and excited about teaching people things, so first things first, this is a guitar. Most of you have seen a guitar before. This is an Alvarez. It's AD60CKU. I got this guitar a long time ago. Still in really good condition. This is a pick. This is generally what people use to pick the strings. Good name for it. These are your strings. Most guitars are going to have 6, some have 12. It just depends which kind you get. But the most common form of guitar has 6 strings. Starting from the top, this whole thing is called your headstock. These are your tuning pegs. This is what takes your strings in and out of tune. This whole brown piece right here is your fretboard. But the entire mechanism from here down to your guitar is called the neck. These little metal things, those are frets. Whenever you press down a note, you want to be in front of those, not on them. You want to be somewhere between it. I'll go over that in a minute. This is the body. Mine is an electric acoustic, so I actually have electronic controls, but I'm not going to mess with that right now. This is a pick guard. This is so if you hit your pick there, you're not going to scratch your finish. And this is your bridge. This is what's going to allow your strings to rest on it to keep you in tune. Alright, now that we got all that out of the way, a lot of people start with scales to teach people how to play music. I'm not going to start there. I'm not going to start with teaching you sheet music. I knew how to read sheet music a long time ago when I was in band in like 7th or 8th grade. I don't know how to read sheet music anymore. I learned how to play guitar on my own, and I just practiced a lot, and then I practiced more. I haven't played in quite a while, so I'm a little bit rusty, but I still have all the knowledge. Basically, what I'm going to teach you now is where most people want to start out. They all want to learn chords because, unlike me, a lot of people just want to keep rhythm and they want to sing. Me, when I started out with really, really difficult things to play, and I wanted to play lead. Don't do that. I mean, you can. If you're good enough to keep up with it, go for it. But in my experience, it took me 2 years to be able to play my first song all the way through because I didn't learn properly. But I did bring something kind of nice away from all that experience, is that if something starts playing on the radio, I can pretty much pick up a guitar and play along with it because I can hear what chord they're in. And you will eventually train your ear to know what chord people are in. But what I'm going to get through today is teaching you the notes, and then I'm going to teach you 5 different shapes of how you can make any major chord. So the notes really are important, but I'm not going to teach you scales. I'm not going to tell you why these notes make a major chord, but most songs are composed of major chords. In fact, if you play pop music or you want to learn pop music, just about all of them, G, C, D. But before I get into all that, these are your strings. First, tuning. This bottom string here, that is your high string. It is your high E string. And your tuning goes E, B, G, D, A, and then E. Which I'll put some graphics up on the screen showing you what I'm doing with this hand so you know, like this. I know you guys can't really tell from this angle, but that's an E chord. So, starting on your lowest string, and I don't mean this one, when I say your lowest string, I'm talking about low pitch. So, your lowest string is actually going to be this top string on the guitar. So, first you've got low E. The next note up on that string, this first fret, which you will put your finger between these two frets. The closer you can get to this fret, the better, but you don't want to be on it. That is an F. So there are these things called natural half steps, and it's not really important to understand why they're natural half steps, but they exist, and there's two of them in the entire musical note range. Between E and F, there's no sharp. Between B and C, there's no sharp. So if somebody tries to tell you, oh, play an E sharp, they're full of crap. Or a B sharp, they're full of crap. A B sharp is a C, and an E sharp is an F. I know that sounds kind of confusing right now, but starting from open, we have E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, that's another natural half step, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. So we went basically from E to E. See how they sound familiar, or sound similar, not familiar. So if you know that that's E, and then your second string here, second string down is A, so then you can immediately start working your way up the fretboard. A sharp, B, C, that's the natural half step, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, E sharp, I caught myself. That's E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Again, A. So if you haven't noticed by now, from open string and the 12th fret, both the same note, and that's, all of these are the same notes right here. E, A, D, D. Once you go up 12 frets, you start repeating your notes. Everybody always wants to learn chords. Chords are a good thing to learn, but no one understands how to figure them out. Well, there's the major chords. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 major chords, and I will teach you how to make all of them with this one simple trick. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that to you. So, what dictates what chord you're in, just for all intents and purposes? We're going to say the lowest note right now dictates your chord, because that's the easiest way to learn. I know there's some crazy jazz chords you can get into where you can add a lower note that's not actually the root note of the chord. You can yell at me in the comments down below, I don't care. So we'll start with your low E string. So there are 5 basic chord shapes. There's an E shape, an A shape, a C shape, a G shape, and a D shape. So your basic chords are going to be E, where you play all 6 strings. Then you're going to have an A, where you're only going to play 5 strings. A C, where you're only going to play 5 strings. A D, where you're only going to play 4 strings. And then a G, where you're going to play all 6 strings. Those are your 5 chord shapes. So I'll do that again. This is E, This is A. This is C. This is D. And this is G. So now that you know how to make these 5 basic major chords, you know how to do them all. I will demonstrate. I'll feed you, baby birds, don't worry. So we know that's E. So if we scoot this whole shape up the neck, up the fretboard 1 fret, we just make that shape with the rest of our fingers and put your main finger, your index finger, all the way across the fretboard. That's an F in the E shape. This is a G in the the G in the E shape. This is an A. This is a B. May seem kind of confusing right now, but once you start messing with your guitar and you realize what you're doing and you're moving your hand up the fretboard, it all makes sense. So then we move on to your A shape. That's your A shape. Well, let's say you want to make a C in the A shape. You will go up to this 3rd fret on your A string, and you'll put these 3 fingers together, put them up on the 5th fret, and then bar across that 3rd one. That is a C in the A shape. This is a D in the A shape. Kind of gets hard to do as you move up the fretboard, but this D and this D sounds very similar. Now the reason you can have so many shapes is that it gives you more variety in your playing. So your music doesn't necessarily sound like artist B and C. So I showed you E and I showed you A. Now the G shape is something that is a little bit more complicated and you probably won't be able to do for a while, because this is G. But now let's say you want to make an A major in the G shape. You gotta start on your ring finger, put that on your 5th fret of your low E string. That is an A. But you just make the same shape and you have to bar across your 2nd fret for an A. And it's still hard for me to do. There we go. That is an A major in the G form. C. This is a C in the C form. And again, I should have a graphic here or here showing you what I'm doing with my fingers. But that is the C in a C form. Now let's say you want to do a D in a C form. Again, take your pinky, put it on the 5th fret of your A string, and you just make the same shape with your other fingers and then bar across these other strings. Doesn't sound like much, but that is a D major in the C form. The last form we're going to go over is the D form. This is a D in the D form. So let's say you want to make an E major in the D form. You can take this shape and move it up 2 frets. You just have to do it with your other fingers. And then take your index finger and put it where your E is on your D string. That's an E. That's an E. Sounds very similar, except for this one is a little bit more full. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I will answer whatever questions you have. I don't want to bog this one down with a whole lot, and that's quite a bit to take in. But if you do a little bit of study by yourself, outside of these videos, you will be very successful. But just like photography, music, experience is the best teacher. Start playing. Don't get hung up on a lot of rules. If you're going for concert playing, yes, you need to be hung up on rules, technique, and everything else. But you just need to start playing. And the one big thing I did not mention is that when you hold your guitar, it usually helps if the body is elevated and you keep your wrist forward. You start playing like this and you can't figure out why your chords aren't sounding right. Push your wrist forward. It seems stupid, but you don't hit those strings and deaden the strings. Sounds a lot better than... Now if you have long fingers, you got it made. I don't have long fingers. I'm a short, fat guy, and I have short, fat, stubby fingers. But until next time, leave me some comments, like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Bye.